5.1 Angles of Triangles, Day 2. So let's look at this. We've got 3 new theorems today. The first one is the triangle sum theorem. And all that said is that the interior angles, all 3 of them add up to equal 180 degrees. So if I take this angle plus this angle plus this angle, all 3 interior ones are going to add up to equal 180. Measure of angle A, measure of angle B, plus measure of angle C, it's all 180 degrees. So let's do an example here. It says if angle B is 120 degrees, so I'm going to write 120 there, and angle C is 20, what is measure of angle A? So we're simply going to add those 2 together and then solve for 180. Okay? Or if you want to think about it this way, measure of angle A, we don't know, it's called x. So we can say x plus 120 plus 20 equals 180 and solve for x. X plus 140 equals 180, and I can subtract it, and x is equal to 40 degrees, okay, or measure of angle A. Or another way you can do it, if it makes sense to do it this way, I know all 3 have to add to 180, so I'm just going to say 120 plus 20 equals 40, and then the total is 180, so 180 minus 40 is 40. So either way, the measure of angle A is equal to 40 degrees. And you can solve either way and get the answer with that. All right. So that's the first one, triangle sum theorem. All of them, all the interior angles add up to 180. The next one, the exterior angle theorem. This says the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle, so the exterior angle, remember, is on the outside, it's this one right here, is equal to the sum of the measure of the 2 non-adjacent interior angles. Okay? So non-adjacent means it's not right next to it. So the adjacent would be right here. So non-adjacent are these 2 angles over here. So if you think about it, the 2 angles that are on the other side of the triangle from the exterior one add together to equal this one. So basically it's saying x plus 70 add together to equal the 2x minus 5. And the question said, find the measure of angle JKM. So let me zoom in on this, because there's 2 steps. First, we got to figure out what x is, and then we got to plug in our x to our JKM there, to angle JKM, because this JKM is what we need to find here. Because remember, JKM, so it's this angle right here. All right, so let's solve for x. We know that x, basically we know x plus 70, the 2 non-adjacent interior, add together to equal the one on the outside. So we're going to say x plus 70 equals 2x minus 5. And then I need to solve for x. Okay? You can bring your x to the left, to the right. I'll just bring it to the left because I know a lot of people like to do that. So I'm going to subtract 2x, subtract 2x. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 70 and bring it to the other side as well. Okay, so these are going to go to 0 there. And then on the left side, I've got x minus 2x, which is negative 1x, or negative x. Negative 5 minus 70 is negative 75. Now I'll just need to divide that negative 1. Negative 1. So x is equal to 75. Then we need to plug it into angle JKM. So angle JKM right now is 2x minus 5. So I'm going to take that 2x minus 5, and I'm going to plug that 75 into it, into x. So that's going to be 2 times 75 minus 5. Okay, 2 times 75 is 150, minus 5 is 145. So our final answer, the measure of angle JKM, is equal to 145 degrees. So that's the exterior angle theorem. Okay, just says, remember, the 2 non-adjacent interiors add together to equal the outside one. And then the last one is the corollary to the triangle sum theorem. Okay, so corollary, remember, it's just building on top of it. So the triangle sum theorem said that all 3 angles add up to equal 180. All 3 interior angles add up to equal 180 degrees. This one says the acute angles of a right triangle, so we got a right triangle, are complementary. Remember, complementary just means you add up to equal 90 degrees. So they want you to find the measure of each acute angle, so each of these two angles. So we said that if we have a right triangle, then this is equal to 90 degrees. And so if all of three have to add up to equal 180, and I know that we already have 90 degrees, then I'm going to say 180 minus 90 gives me 90, and then that means that these other two have to add up to equal 90 in order to all three to add up to equal 180, okay? So basically, if you have a 90, know the other two just add up to equal 90. So I'm going to set it up in an equation just like that. 2x plus x minus 6 equals 90 degrees. And then solve for x. So I have combined like terms. I have a 2x, x, and then a negative 6. 2x plus x is 3x minus 6 equals 90. I'm going to add the 6 to both sides. 3x is equal to 96, and then divide by 3. X is equal to 32. All right, it wants to find the measure of each acute angle. So when I look here, I have two acute angles. I have 2x and I have x minus 6. So I'm going to solve for 2x. Then I'm going to solve for x minus 6. I need the angle of both of those measures. So we're going to plug in for 2 times, we got 32 for the x, so that's 2 times 32, which just gives us 64 degrees. And then the other one is 32, and it's minus 6, so it's going to equal to 32 minus 6 is just 26. So that means that the measure of angle A is equal to 64 degrees. The measure of angle B is equal to 26 degrees. Okay, two answers, because there's two acute angles, so you have two answers. And the way you could check this is 64 plus 26 should add up to equal 90, and it actually does, so we did it correctly. All right, so let's do some more examples. So I did the hard ones first, and now I'm going to be working trying to show you the easier ones. Okay? So this one says find the measure of angle 1, then classify the triangles by its sides. Or, I'm sorry, by its angles. So I have a right angle in this first one, so that means that the other two add together to equal 90. So to go backwards, I'm just going to say 90 minus 38, which equals 52. So measure of angle 1 equals 52 degrees. And we classify by its angles. That's a right triangle. So two answers on these. The next one, all three angles we know all add together to equal 180 degrees. All interior angles of a triangle always equal to 180. So I'm going to say 78 plus 31 be 109. And then I'm going to do 180 because these two add together. We add them together and then subtract it from 180. And that's going to be 1. It's going to be 71 degrees. So measure of angle 1 equals 71 degrees. And all three of these angles are less than 90, so it's an acute triangle. All right. So let's keep going. So this one, find the measure of the numbered angles. So you don't have to do them in order, but just work through the one and find the ones you know. So for example, number 1, I have a 90 degrees, so I know that 40 plus angle 1 are going to add up to equal 90 degrees. So I'm just going to do 90 minus 40. And that tells me that angle 1 is going to equal 50 degrees. And with these, I would definitely fill them in as you go. Just makes it a little simpler. Angle 3. Well, I know that one's 50 degrees because angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. So this one's 50 degrees because of vertical angles. Angle 5. Well, once again, we have a 90-degree, a right triangle. So these two are going to add together to equal 90. So I'm going to go backwards and say 90 minus the 50 is equal to 40 degrees. And then, oh, I need to put that in there, 40 degrees. Whoops. All right, angle 7, there's a couple different ways you could solve it. This is a line, and these two angles make a straight line. We call that a linear pair. Remember, linear pair adds to 180. So I could say 180 minus the 90 gives me angle 7. Or I could also say, look, angle 7 is an exterior angle. So the two non-adjacent angles, the two on the other side, have to add together to equal 7, to equal this angle. So 50 plus 40 equals 90. So either way, you could have done it. So I'm going to do the exterior angles. I'm going to do it in green. Exterior angles. And I'm going to do 50 plus 40 equals the 90 degrees. And there's my 4 answers there. All right, the last page. Find the measure of each exterior angle. So remember so we're looking for angle 1. So we know that these two non-adjacent interior add together to equal that one. So it's just going to be 53 plus 53, which is 106 degrees. That's it. This one, same thing. These two non-adjacent are going to add together to equal that one. So I'm going to say 40 plus 5x plus 15 equals 8x minus 5. We're going to combine like terms. I have 40, I have a 5x, I have a 15, and on the right side there's nothing to combine. So I'm going to have 5x, 40 plus 15 is 55, and then it's 8x minus 5. And bring your x's left or right. I would typically bring it to the right here, but I know most people like to bring it to the left. So I'm going to subtract 8x and bring it to the left. Then I'm going to subtract the 55 and bring it to the right. So on the left, 5x minus 8x is negative 3x. Negative 5 minus 55 is negative 60. And the last step, we want to divide by 3. Negative 3, I mean. And you get x is equal to 20. Now we need to find the measure of the exterior angle. So I'm going to take that 20 and plug it in for our exterior angle there. So it's going to be 8 times 20 minus 5. 8 times 20 is 160. Minus 5 is 155 degrees. So our exterior angle is 155 degrees. Okay. Now this one, we need to find the measure of each acute angle. So remember, whenever you have a right triangle, that these two acute angles add up to equal 90. So I'm going to say 3x plus 2x equals 90 degrees. Combine them. 3x and 2x is 5x equals 90. Divide by 5. X is equal to 18. Now I simply just take it, and I'm going to have 3x and 2x. And 2x, we got to find those two angles. So it's going to be 3 times 18, which is what? 3 times 20, 60. So it's 54. And then it's going to be 2 times 18, which is 36. So my two angles are 54 degrees and 36. And remember, you could double check them by adding them together, and they should equal 90, and 54 and 36 do. All right, last one. Same thing, I have a right triangle. So that means that these two have to add together to equal 90. So I'm going to say 6x plus 7 plus 11x minus 2 equals 90 degrees. So it's going to be 6x and 11x that are combining, and then a 7 and a negative 2. 6x plus 11x is 17x. 7 minus 2 is 5. Draw my line. Now we'll subtract the 5 to bring it away from the x. 17x is equal to 85. And it should be 5. 85 divided by 17. Yep, it's 5. So last step, we want to divide by 17. And x is equal to 5. Okay. Now when it says find the measure, you have to plug x back in. Okay. If it just said find x, we'd be done. But it says find the measure of the acute angle. So I have two acute angles. I've got the 6x plus 7. And then I have the 11x minus 2. So the 6x plus 7 is going to be 6 times 5 plus 7. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 7 is 37 degrees. Oops. Here's my first one. Then 11x minus 2 is 11 times 5 minus 2. 11 times 5 is 55, minus 2 is 53. So there's my two answers. And once again, 37 plus 53, if I want to check, do add to 90 degrees. Okay? And that's it.